Hey guys, Mike here. So, oh boy, what a day in the market. Did you see what happened after lunch? Did you notice it? Did you look at your phone and say, what in the world? Why are my stocks rallying? Depending on which ones you had, of course, right? And then, of course, you probably went and go, Tesla, what's going on, man? You're not moving, right? And we're gonna go into that in depth and let you kind of see what's happening there. And I'm going to end this video with an interview from a gentleman who one of our members turned me on to, who is basically a volatility expert. And so when we talk about the VIX and things like that, he's going to tell you exactly what he sees happening, right, and what he thinks is going to continue to happen. And so that's really important to understand, because volatility, it can be a subject, unless you really read a lot about it, be pretty dang tough to understand. I mean, let's be real about it. And so it's not like the markets are easy to understand in a lot of ways, but I try to make them as easy as possible, right, and look behind the curtain, which we're going to do today. But first, I want to talk about this right here. This says U.S. European stocks post biggest weekly drop this year and stuff. And yes, that is true, as I'll circle right there. But also, I mean, this same thing kind of happened if you look in December. It wasn't a pretty month either, right? Then, of course, there was a nice little bump up and less selling off. But what I really want to look at is who's actually helping out with this sell-off, right? Well, it was the insiders of the people that run these companies. Yeah, they decided on these run-ups in January, February, they're getting the heck up out of there. And so the higher the number, the more sellers you actually have. And it was around about 2,000, a little over 2,000 executives were selling. Only about 450 were actually buying. So, of course, that's going to give you your number around 4.25, I believe it is right there. So they're getting out, and that's usually a signal to what they think is going to happen in the market. Sometimes not, but most time it really kind of lets you know they have access to this information, right? And, of course, what we talked about yesterday, you know, this is the junk bond ETF, and boy, HYG just getting decimated, right? I mean, biggest HYG outflow ever in the history of it. Okay, so I showed you one yesterday. I'm showing you this one. Like, people ain't having nothing to do with it. It's just a hot mess there. And of course, you know what a month makes. I mean, the bearishness, could it be possibly any worse? I mean, you just look right now, and here's March 1st, the latest one that came out yesterday. Only 23% of bulls now, 45% of bears, and 31% right in the middle. But look at that, going from 25 to 45 in just 4 weeks time frame. And of course, that leads us into the market. And here's the spy. And I don't know if you noticed, you're probably thinking, if you looked at your phone after lunch, you said, wait a minute, what happened? We were trading basically just sideways. That's all we were doing once we closed that gap. And there's this candle. What is that all about? Who's buying? What happened? It must have been something major happened, right? I mean, oh my goodness. And of course, yeah, something major did happen. Well, as I told the guys in the Discord, just kind of started a debate over there. Right there at around 1:30, Bostic comes out and says the word pause and 25 basis point hike, but it was the pause. Pause by mid to late summer. That tweet was put out at 1:39. He spoke a little after 1:30 when he said this statement. So, of course, algos kick in, AI, whatever you want to call it, bam. And like they say, if you can't convince them, just confuse them, right? Because the markets went, or the algos, excuse me, not even people, said buy, 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 right? That's AI for you, right? Just kick right in. Boom. See you later. And it took off, right? But let's be real about it. I mean, if we're being honest here, I can talk about yesterday. I mean, look at this area. I mean, you got the 618 Fibonacci level, which is where you see reversals. The golden pocket, if you like that, but the 6.5 as well. You got the 200-day moving average. You got the anchor VWAP in October, low for crying out loud. And so we're not going to get bounced either way. It didn't really look like it, but I just find it hard to believe that we're going to go today or tomorrow and not get a bounce. And guys, if you're getting anything out of this, please hit that like button. It really does help the channel. And if you're new here and you like this kind of content, think about hitting the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. And please let me know what you think in the comments and stuff. But I mean, to me, that's what happened. Again, I don't believe in, sometimes I believe in coincidence, but not most of the time. Not when it comes to the markets, right? And the market was trading sideways. That's all it was doing. This man comes out there, utters a word, you know, pause, which by the way, that puts it out like 6 months, 5 to 6 months away. And I think I've showed you on the pauses before. I showed you when they put the official statement out when they were going to pause, and then the market rallying. And usually it's like 3 months ahead of schedule, not 6 months. All right. But again, year first, whatever, we'll see. But again, this is what I'm talking about with the algos. 94% traded by machines and everything. That's why I keep talking about, why is everybody talking about AI like it's new? What do you think the algos are? I mean, give me a break. And so, you know, but no shocker there. And guess what else? The Qs, what do you think happened there? Boom, same thing. Once the SPY start rallying, see you later, bounce rate. It rode that 200 moving average, right? For like 2.5 hours. No problem. And that brings us to Tesla. Oh boy. Tesla, man. I tell you, after that investor day, it seemed like investors were just talking about
get back in there at once and sell.
Because this thing got down 8% in the morning. Talking about sell the news event. That's what we talked about. Could be a sell the news event. That's exactly what it was. But look at this. Here's the worrisome part to me, and I can't wait to see tomorrow. Look what happened. It didn't bounce like all the other stocks. It didn't bounce. Look at Apple, for example. Apple bounced. Tesla is one of the most traded stocks out there. One of the most, especially when it comes to options, right? Retail investors love it. They'll buy all those dips. But somebody was not allowing them to do that. I'm not saying who it was. You let me know in the comments who you think. But for whatever reason, it was just flatlined all the way across like that for hours on end, right? And you're like, that's weird. Because Tesla, it usually moves, right? Except this week. Like this week's been very mute. And this is what I'm talking about. And this is why I say, you may not like it, and I don't like it, but I have to applaud people when they just execute their job, whether I like their job or not, right? And it's actually pretty beautiful if you respect this kind of stuff. But when you look at it, look at the week for Tesla, right? Tesla's usually a very big mover, but look at it. 3% up for the first 3 days, about 1.5 down. I mean, that's not a big range. It's a very small range, right? And then we get, oh my God, Investor Day, woo! Gaps down, and then look at it. It just flatlines all the way across, right? And so what are we doing here? What are we doing? Killing premiums. That's what we're doing. Killing options, taking them out and just taking them to the woodshed. And it sets it up beautifully for a weekly option expiration. This is tomorrow. You can see right here all these options: 210, 220, 225, 250. Right? You see that's the biggest spikes up there. Put call ratio 0.77, which by the way, this is skewed just because of, I know it's skewed just because of the same day expiration options. And so, but again, I think we can all agree people are way more bullish on Tesla than they are bearish, or at least they were, at the beginning of the week. We'll see. But this is beautiful, right? Because the market makers there, and I'm going to get to a video, by the way, at the end. It's going to talk about this. Like I mentioned before, and this gentleman going to talk about this exact thing when it comes to this, when it comes to volatility and things like that, and what the market actually wants to do. But, you can see it. They're like, oh, this is great. We'll sell all these call options. And then, of course, we buy the stock goes up, whenever they sold them, whatever, they can sell the stock, whatever they want to do at that point in time. And then here comes the market. It just stays like this, a Tesla, just doing nothing, just grinding premiums. You can hear them crying, oh my God. And then we'll drop it after Investor Day and then grind it across some more. So what's tomorrow going to do, right? Unless you get some huge move, some craziness happening, those are toast. And most people have already gotten rid of them, I'm sure. But they're toast, and something else can, we'll see what happens to the market tomorrow. But you see right here what's coming out: PMI, right? Final services PMI, ISM services PMI, and then another Fed speaker trying to beat us down. And I'm going to end with this right here. So, let me know in the comments what you think the market's going to do tomorrow. Remember, weekly options expiration. A lot of times, a lot of people aren't going to trade that and stuff. A lot of people like to buy, they like to hold over the weekend. So that's why you usually get less volume. Now, this one right here is the interview I'm talking about. This gentleman right here, don't do a lot of interviews. When he does, I'll listen. And one of our members brought him to my attention. So, his name's, I'm going to say Kim Carson. I may pronounce that wrong, but, or Cam Carson. But he started Kai Volatility, right? He's a volatility expert, as most people would say. And so when you get somebody who's really good at volatility, because a lot of people don't understand it, and including myself, I kind of got a grasp of it, but not like this guy. He talks circles around me and stuff. And so, I like to listen to people like this and see what he's got to say of what's happening and pay attention to what he's talking about. Because remember, the market thinks ahead, right? So we're talking about March OPEX, the monthly expirations in OPEX like we just went through in February. And that really does have a lot to do with how the market works.
Now, for tomorrow, we have ISMs for the service sector. It's all about the service sector. I see the VIX is down. Your thoughts about tomorrow?
Yeah, there's a lot of structural elements going on right now. Flows going into a March OPEX are really supportive. Vol has been incredibly dampened going into this, so I think that's a big player. Obviously, ISM itself, which has been hot. The economy has been pretty steady as it goes. The Fed is the important part here. They're vol dampening.
What about European inflation? We noticed that, like us, it's historically sticky, but it's still lower than it's been, except for the core that was released today for the Eurozone. It was the highest since record keeping, and that may have an effect here. Your final thoughts?
Yeah, I think this inflationary pressure is going to continue in Europe and here locally as well. The Fed needs to keep fighting this inflation. That's a problem for the markets. But at the end of the day, the Fed doesn't want a liquidation. The Fed wants vol dampening. They want to sell calls to the market. That's what they're doing. That's why the vol is down. I'd expect more of that to come.
Thanks, Jim.
And so will his call be right? Guess we'll have to find out, right? So we'll see, if we get a little continuation of what we got here. Again, is it 3,900? Is it 4,300, right? It looked like it was going to be 3,900. Now the market, but you knew the bulls and the market wasn't going to give up that easy, right? Again, just think of it as a soap opera. And we got to come back for another day to go, what happens? Does she make it, doctor? You know, I'm just kidding. My mom used to watch soap. So I used to watch it with her as a kid. So, you know, that's what it's like. And so you listen to a volatility expert, right? That's what he's saying. And so that seems to be what the Fed wants. I mean, I just don't like think about this. Why in the world would a Fed president come in here and talk about a pause? Like, they're getting what they need, right? They're getting the market selling back off, you know, commodities, things like this. You're starting to get the market back under control for yourself. And then you come in there and start talking about a pause. They know how the market works. These people have been in this business for a long time. Like, why would you come out and say something like that? Like, it's just crazy, right? And so we'll see. We'll see if the algos keep kicking in and people start going into it. Because remember, seasonality-wise, March and April are usually pretty dang good. And so it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, again, like I said it, 2 months ago where it was. If it is going down, it ain't going down without a fight. That's just the way it is. That 200, man, is a battleground. It's like the Great China Wall or something. You know, you've seen it on the charts. And so, once again, the bears will be pushing us down. Bulls will be trying to hold it up. Another Fed president, we'll see. Maybe they'll use another word that the algos and AI just love to kick in, right? And if you own C3 AI, I think it's a stock call. Congratulations, because I looked at my phone, and I think it's up like 20%. It's top and bottom line, but they said, don't worry. First couple quarters, we're going to beat revenue and stuff. So, hey, again, I think that's kind of the safe bet with going to these earnings. Do not bet against any AI stocks. Don't matter who they are. It just seems don't even matter. Because look at, I said, NVIDIA, talking about they're going to do that big offering. That stock's not even phased. Not one single bit, right? And so that's the market we're in anyway. Let me know what you think, guys, in the comments. Hit the like, subscribe button if you got anything out of it. And I'll see you tomorrow. We'll wrap up the week on Friday.